Okay, welcome back to my series of videos that I'm doing about my book series that would have been, or my video game series that would have been, but due to health, I'm unable to complete the project. And I have limited time, and I have zero computer. This computer I'm using is actually on loan. I have to give it back in about a month, so I'm going to have all this done ahead of time. I'm actually enjoying getting the concepts done like this so everybody can see where I was headed. So this novel would have been called Pacific Misfit, and it features a character whose real name was Lucy McClellan, who used to be human. You get to that in a minute. She's a Navy undersea scout. In other words, she spent a lot of her time underwater as a scuba diver, etc., doing things. Her abilities are she has a biolume, toxic hair, shark teeth, and electricity. Believe it or not, she's pretty handy with a gun too, but she doesn't need to use them because of her control over electricity. She has blue skin covered in scales, fins from head to tail. Yep, she has a long tail that flows behind her, and jelly translucent hair, which is kind of pink in color, divided by a fin that protrudes from her head. She doesn't have a snout or anything like a shark. She's got a human-like face. Lucy was a champion diver and rose through the ranks quickly due to her approach to both tactics and teamwork. When an offer was made to allow her to undergo an experiment, she refused. Less than a week later, she was shot with a loaded dart and became Pacific Misfit. She railed at her superiors, not believing they were innocent. After her harried escape, she found herself not only free, but on another world. Yeah. In the interim, while she was recovering from becoming what she became, her captain actually brought them to another world that he had found. Her usual allies are characters named Twir and Cayman. And my quote for her is, I always wanted to live beneath the waves, and now I do. And she's a character that once she gets her abilities, after the initial shock wears off, she finds that she actually prefers it. She likes living beneath the waves. Not that she can't be on land. She can be on land. She just can't stray too far from water because she does require a little bit more hydration than we do. Her story info is, I designed Misfit because I found both Aquaman and Hammer to be a little bit flat, and I still do. Misfit became my answer to that spark in the back of my noggin that kept driving me to create a heroic that existed beneath the sea. And yeah, I always wanted to make a water-based character, but I didn't want him to be as flat. No offense to Aquaman and Namor. They've come a long way. They've had a lot of good writers under their belt and had some nice transitions. But again, they look to me, they're just it's not that their character arcs have been boring. It's me looking at them going, couldn't you have done something better to make an underwater character? And I have. That's Misfit here. My friend Devine actually did a picture, a big portrait of her, which you can find on my Discord, which is kind of cool, a headshot of her, as it were. Misfit's arc takes place in the ocean just outside of the city of Innsmouth. It begins with her halting an invasion by not only the Naga, but her former captain, and a refit submarine brought over to Mourn. Yep. During the invasion, she encounters Twir, a deep one who has taken up acting more like a monk, and Cayman, a bipedal alligator-like creature with reptilian plates decorating his backside, kind of like a stegosaurus. We'll get to him in a bit. Together, the three set off to find out who might be crazy enough to want to invade the very city with a cornerstone on madness. And Innsmouth is when I get to describing the world itself, you'll find out just why. And it might sound familiar, and you're right, as we'll get into that right now. Because Twir is a deep one, and that is a Lovecraftian thing. Now, before you go, oh, well, you can't. Yes, you can. Lovecraft made his entire works public domain when he passed away, so yeah, everything's up for grabs. He's a monk, not a monk. The T is a typo right there that I didn't have a chance to get rid of. Who's taken up martial arts. Doesn't have really any other abilities other than using martial arts and the ability to use them quickly underwater, I might add. He has a fish-like head and a life bipedal body covered in green scales. Tor has turned his back on the ways of his people. Through training, he has adapted his mind to a calm center and mastered not only mental control, but body as well. Other deep ones turned away from him in fear that Cthulhu might find a way to hurt all of them due to Tor's new lease on freedom. There you go. There's a hint on Cthulhu, although Cthulhu doesn't really play a big role in the story. It's just that you're aware that Cthulhu's around. Usual allies are Pacific, Misfit, and Cayman. And his quote is, "I found a center, and with it I found myself." His story info is, Tor was designed to be an homage to my own journey of self-discovery. I wanted a character that had an unwavering center. He's somewhat of a pacifist and always seeks a peaceful alternative to fighting. However, if pressed, he will utilize his skills to make quick work of his foes. Tor's arc is one of exploring the world through new eyes. My goal with the entire Pacific Misfit story is for Misfit and Cayman to realize that they are guides to a being looking to help a city, lacking what he has discovered within himself. By the tale's end, they find that his path has indeed led to the salvation of Innsmouth. And yeah, even though the title of the book is Pacific Misfit, and she's a cornerstone of what's going on, she actually quickly realizes that she's a guide, but she does manage to talk to her two friends. She's more of the center, and she acts like a leader. Tor, if it were up to him, he'd think that everybody's your friend. You can't go wrong trying to trust everybody. And Cayman's kind of the exact opposite, as you'll see. Cayman is an Ogopogo. Literally, he's just a heroic. I don't have any other profession for him. His background, where he's from, is he is pretty much a fisherman. Literally, he's a fisherman, underwater fisherman. He has atomic breath, super strength, and fast regeneration. He has stegosaurus-like plates along his back, and he's a bipedal alligator-like being. Cayman is an Ogopogo, a xenophobic underwater race. When he learned they were assisting a warlike human and the Naga, he decided it was time to do the one thing he had always wanted, escape. But he was caught and experimented on by the human. He escaped during the siege of Innsmouth, and we'll get to that in a minute. His usual allies are Pacific, Misfit, and Tor. His quote is, "Fear has a way of twisting a heart into madness," as he himself knows. His story info is, yes, Cayman is a sort of my answer to Godzilla. Yeah, kind of a smaller version, not as heavy set, but he's not Godzilla, trust me. But on a smaller scale. In fact, Misfit's former captain experimented on him because of his love of the movies. There you go. Cayman is the reason the captain shows up during the siege of Innsmouth, because Cayman escaped, and the captain is following him. And yeah, I just call him the captain. There's no other reason for it. I find it a little bit more intimidating calling him the captain. The arc for Cayman is connected to Misfit, but it quickly becomes apparent that Ogopogo is out for revenge rather than simply making peace of what he has become. Misfit and Tor both become his sounding board, eventually steering him away from vengeance. That doesn't prevent him from being the one to wreck the captain's submarine at the end of the novel. And yeah, he is the exact opposite of Tor. He will be quick to anger and quick to confront. And it takes him a long time, almost the entire length of the novel, to get to the place where Misfit is at the beginning. So all of Misfit's military background and whatnot that go into that make her the proven leader of the group. But she realizes she's just in it for the ride for the most part, and she's happy with that. She has a reason to be there, and it's to keep them both going until everything is resolved. And that, my friends, is Pacific Misfit. I hope you've enjoyed this. There's 6 more to go, plus a story, plus a world overview. I hope you're enjoying this series. I will see you all in the near future, and thank you for watching.